Hey y'all, my name is Kobe Warner, and welcome to the first episode of the KOBLIZZY show. I decided to start this podcast because I have lots of thoughts and ideas and opinions, and this seems like a fun way to get them out. So I don't really know what's in store for this podcast as a whole, but I'm excited to try this out, and I really hope that you enjoy the very first episode of my brand new podcast. So before we get into the topic, I'm going to do a quick life update and tell you what's going on in my life. Recently, I've been modeling, which is super fun. In May, I think. Maybe June. It might be June. No, it was May. It was May. In May, I signed with Ursula Weidman Models in Atlanta. And I have been doing photo shoots to prepare my portfolio so I can go out and do more jobs. I've done one professional job in May, right before I signed with the agency. Actually, I did a job with JanSport, and so if you go on JanSport's website and look at some of their backpacks, you'll see my pictures and see my face and see my butterfly tattoo, so that's super fun. But anyway, I want to do more jobs like that, and so I've been doing photo shoots and other sort of preparation things recently, so I can get out there in the modeling industry. So I'll keep you up to date with that. But that's what's going on right now. If you want to see some of my portfolio pictures right now, you can go to my link tree, which is the linktr.ee/KOBLIZZY. And you can click the first link there and see my portfolio as it stands on the Ursula Weidman website. So that's pretty awesome. And that's all I have to say about modeling. Last night, my mom and I went to see the RuPaul's Drag Race Work the World Tour in Atlanta, and oh my fucking god, it was so much fun. So Asia O'Hara was hosting, and she was so good. She was so good. Cameron Michaels performed, Angeria Paris Van Michaels performed, Diabetti performed, Georges performed, The Essence of Beauty, Jada Essence Hall performed, and Deja Sky performed. It was so much fun. I highly recommend that tour. I'd never been to an official Drag Race tour before, and that shit was lit. And my mom and I had our best lives, and we were right in the front. We were in the very, very front. And I swear to God, Jada Essence Hall was licking me in my eyes on a couple of different occasions because she kept hitting this mark that was right in front of me. She was right in front of where I was standing in the audience on the stage, and she was hitting this mark, and I just felt like she was looking at me in my eyes. Anyway, I just wanted to shout that out really quickly because it was so much fun, and I didn't really take any videos or anything because I was trying to enjoy the experience. But oh my god, I had the best time, and I highly recommend that tour. If it's not sold out in your city, please get tickets. It's so good. It really is. But the reason I bring it up is because of something that happened before the show started. My mom and I got there an hour before the door opened so we could get a good spot, and it worked because we were right in the front, like I said. But there was this person there that I felt like I recognized. When we were standing in line, I saw them, but I didn't really remember them, and they didn't say anything to me, and we had made eye contact, so I just didn't think anything of it. And so the doors open, and we go inside, and we get down on the floor, and I just so happened to be standing very close to this person whom I'd made eye contact with outside, and they start talking to me, and I was just like, oh, hi, I was just being polite back. So I thought. And then they mentioned that we had done a show together before. They were they were introducing me to their friends, and they were like, "Oh yeah, so we did a show together." And I was like, "Oh yeah," I wasn't really registering that we had done a show together, a musical theater show. I mean, and I was like, "Oh my god!" In that moment, I remembered, and I tried to recover from the fumble, but honestly, I don't think they were buying it. It was so awkward, guys. I am so forgetful. I am getting better about remembering stories and scenarios with age, I think, but I am still not good with faces, and I will never be good with names. So that was so fucking embarrassing. Oh my god, because I was trying to be oh yeah, I totally remember you, girl, but no, I didn't. Anyway, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. And I'm sorry I lied and tried to act like I did remember you. But after you reminded me of where I knew you from, I did remember you, I promise. I think at this point we can get into the topic. We're talking about music today. I figured for the first episode, the topic should be something that is really important to me, something that's always been important to me. And so we're talking about music, and we're going to talk about music in a couple of different ways, or two different ways specifically. The first angle is mine. We're going to talk about my personal music. Just really quickly, an overview of my musical journey in honor of the pseudonym that I use. That is also the name of this podcast, KOBLIZZY. Okay, so in 2020, I put out my very first song in January of 2020 with my friend Luke, and it was called Don't Waste My Time. Me and Luke wrote it, and Luke produced it, and it was cute, and a lot of my friends to this day still really like it, and it's pretty simple, but it's fun, and it's a good memory, and I really like that song. And so a year later, in January of 2021, almost exactly a year later, actually, I put out my second song, my first solo song called Hometown, produced by Travis Palmer and written by me. And that song was like a diss track to my hometown. It actually came out on the day that I moved into the dorm for my first semester of college. And that was not an accident. It was supposed to be like a statement, like not that anybody cared, but like for me, it was like symbolic. I am the queen of doing things that nobody cares about. Like I'm so like, anyway, that is another story for another day. But that song was actually kind of caused some controversy. There was this one girl that I used to be pretty good friends with, honestly, and she was like in my Instagram. Well, actually, she was talking about me to like my friends about how I was like being like messy and negative with this song. And then anyway, so then I texted her, as you do, of course, because I'm not afraid of controversy or not afraid of conflict or controversy, frankly. And anyway, so that was a mess. But that song was cool, and it was a diss track to my hometown, and it offended some people, and I guess that's what diss tracks do. So yeah, successful. But in October of 2021, when I put out Bad Bitch, that's when I think I finally got it right. Like my first two songs were cute, but Bad Bitch like really just feels like my essence. Like it just feels like me. And because it's about, I mean, the hook is Kobe. That's a bad bit. You know, like it's talking about. And I just think something about that song. I really, really, I think it's infectious and I think it's fun. And that song was written by me and produced by Travis Palmer. And we had a release party at my friend Bella's apartment in Boston when that song came out in October of 2021. And that was just a really good time. Good memories. My next and final release so far in my illustrious 7-song solo career is my EP Aftermath that came out in March of 2022. Now, that EP came out at a rough time for me, which, again, is another story for another time. But I was shit at promoting that EP because of the timing of its coming out. It's a long story that I can tell later. But anyway, so it didn't, like change the world or anything. And honestly, I don't even think a lot of you have probably heard it. But it was important to me. It was significant. I wrote all the songs, and all 4 of them were produced by Travis Palmer, and 2 of them were produced also by Brandon Grant. And those songs they're really good. I think it was my like first shot at like some legit, like music. And I think, most of it's successful. And so that's all I have to talk about as far as KOBLIZZY music thus far. And so now we can get into the other angle of how I want to discuss music. And that is my different eras with music throughout my life thus far. So I turned 20 a little over a month ago. And in my 20 years on this earth, I have been a lot of things. But one of those things has always been a music appreciator. As long as I've been singing and as long as I've been acting and been on stage and performing in shows and music and being a musician myself, I have loved music longer and I have been a music appreciator longer. And so sometime a couple of years ago, I kind of forged this idea, and it's evolved with time, but I forged this idea to make like time capsule playlists on my Spotify account. I was like, I wanted playlists that like I could listen and turn on and be taken back or transported to that time in my life when I liked those songs. Because I don't know what this is about me that makes me like this, but when I hear a song, I have when I hear a song that I know, I have very specific memories attached to those songs, all of them. And so if I really, really know the song, I'm going to remember where I heard it. I'm going to remember where it meant the most to me, in what time, when that happened. And so over like a year or more, honestly, I've been working on this playlists, and I finally got them to a point where they are like substantial, and they kind of like stand alone for themselves, and they speak for these different eras of my life, and they kind of tell you what I was going through or what kind of music I liked at the time. I think it's really cool and really telling to use music as time capsules. And since we live in the era of streaming, when it's so easy to like playlist music, you don't have to burn like a mixtape CD or whatever the fuck. And so you can just add the song to a playlist. And so what took time and effort was the thought. I had to remember back, what songs did I like in middle school? Stuff like that. It took time, because a song would come on. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I loved this song then. And, you know, that takes a long time to happen, where you have like a substantial, you know, grouping of songs to have a different playlist for all these different time periods in your 20 years of life. Anyway, so I grouped my life in playlists like this. It starts with a playlist called The Wonder Years. The Wonder Years is my birthday, literally my day of birth, June 12, 2002, until the summer after 8th grade. It's like my early childhood to middle school years, and the music that I loved then. It's a large time period, but it's also a large playlist. And it's actually 12 hours and 12 minutes long, which is really funny because my favorite number is 12. And whenever I see 1212 on the clock, I treat it like an angel number. And so The Wonder Years is 12 hours and 12 minutes long. And I love that. But anyway, I just noticed that. So I'm just going to go through this playlist and pick out some highlights and just kind of talk about like what I was into at the time. Honestly, I think I had pretty advanced in music taste for a child. In some ways, and then there's a lot of Disney shit on here. Oh my god, I fucking ate Zendaya up. I still do, but I always have. And fame like this, not something you wish for. That song from Shake It Up. Oh my god, bitch, had me in a chokehold. Alicia Keys. Honestly, I really loved Alicia Keys when I was a kid because my dad would play her, and I just by association loved her. I see some really amazing Who Says by Selena Gomez in the scene. Hilarious. Jessie J's album, Who You Are, I was obsessed with as a kid. At like age 10, I would like scream the songs, like skrelt the songs, straight up yelling. Lady Gaga, Born This Way, I loved. My friend Tori, when I was a kid, her mom, Jennifer, shout out guys, burned me. Tori had the CD of Born This Way and I didn't, and so Jennifer took the CD and she burned me a copy. But she broke the first one in half and burned me a new copy because Government Hooker is on the album and she forgot to take it off the first time and she didn't want my mom to get mad at her. and I still remember that, and I loved that. And that's so funny. But anyway, I loved Born This Way. I loved Fearless by Taylor Swift when I was a kid. Oh my God. In middle school, I loved Tamar Braxton and like Love and War. I was really into R&B. Really good music on this playlist. Really good memories. I loved Meghan Trainor, to be honest. Like Dear Future Husband is a banger and you can't say it isn't. Stone Cold by Demi Lovato is incredible. I sang that song when I auditioned for America's Got Talent when I was in the 8th grade, I believe. It was like January, I think it was second semester of the 8th grade, in January, and I did not get past the first round. But I did sing Stone Cold. I was wearing a zebra onesie. Oh my God, I've done stupid shit in my life. I was wearing a zebra one. I'm gonna have to find pictures of that. We'll talk about this again later in another episode because that was funny. But I sang Stone Cold by Demi Lovato and I was wearing a zebra onesie while I did it. And like Converse or something. Skyscraper by Demi Lovato. I was obsessed with her back in the day. Like Skyscraper, like that album. The song, but also the album. Fix a Heart is a song by Demi Lovato from that album I loved. Begin Again by Taylor Swift. Pills and Potions, Nicki Minaj. This playlist, I could stick on it all day long and reminisce on the childhood era of my music life. Marry the Night, Lady Gaga, Mama Knows Best, Jessie J. Loving You, Minnie Riperton, who I think is my cousin via that television show Finding Your Roots. Because anyway, she was related to my family out of Kentucky or whatever the fuck. I was born in Indiana, but I feel like if there's Kentucky people with my same last name, I might also be related. I think Minnie Riperton's my cousin is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And I think that's a good point. I think that's a good time to move on to the next playlist. And so after my playlist, The Wonder Years from June 12th, 2002 to the summer after middle school, summer after 8th grade, is my playlist entitled High School, which is fall 2016 to February 2020 when school like ended because of the pandemic. It actually ended early March, but this playlist ends at the end of February. Honestly, high school music, really good memories for most of it. Some sad memories tied to some of it, but like Adore You, Harry Styles, Fine Line, that album came out. Senior year 2019, so good. There's also a lot of musical theater songs that I sang in high school on here. Beauty School Dropout, Bianca from Kiss Me Kate. Beauty School Dropout from Grease, by the way. Beautiful City from Godspell. The Ballad of Farquaad from Shrek. XXX Temptation, is that how you say his name? Alone, Part 3, Moonlight, Spotlight Up. I loved that song in high school. Rest in peace. Break Up With Your Girlfriend by Ariana Grande was my top song of 2019. So it's fitting that it is on my high school playlist because 2019 is when I was in my senior year. Katie Turner, the EP The Sad Vegan, I fucking was obsessed with in high school. I was so obsessed with that album or that EP, every song. It's called The Sad Vegan, which describes me. I'm sad and I'm also a vegan. Close to You by Rihanna. I have a very vivid memory of driving to pick up my lunch, mine and some of my friends' lunch in senior year of high school. And I was listening to Close to You by Rihanna and crying and driving at the same time. At the same time, I was upset about God. Actually, I remember exactly what I was upset about. But anyway, yeah, that's a funny memory. It was not fun at the time. It's funny now. Come and See Me by Party Next Door featuring Drake. I loved that song freshman year of high school. I fucking loved White Ferrari by Frank Ocean freshman year of high school. Ate that shit up. Evergreen by Yebba. I still love that song, but I loved it in high school. Fuck You by CeeLo Green. Gets Better by Katie Turner. That's another song by Katie Turner that's not on that Sad Vegan EP. It's a different one. This was also the year I went to Music Midtown in Atlanta, so I got to see Lizzo perform the 'Cause I Love You album. I got to see Billie Eilish do When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? At Music Midtown. I got to see Travis Scott do Astroworld music. I'm sorry. I forgot about that controversy. Anyway, moving on. That was before the controversy. I got to see, who else? There was somebody else. Oh, Cardi B. Oh my God. She was great. Cardi B. She like did this like fucking like handstand and then twerked. And that was my favorite part of Music Midtown, I think, to be honest. I Love Him is a really good song by Katie Turner that I think is worth mentioning. And then the last thing I will mention is Yola. She's a black British like country soul singer, and she's so interesting and so cool, and her vibes are so good. And she has a song called Ride Out in the Country, and she has a song called Shady Grove, and she has a song called Deep Blue Dream, all of which I loved in high school and still love to this day. And with that being said, I'm gonna move on to my next era of music, which is the spring of 2020. These playlists, these next few, we're gonna go a little bit quicker. They're short. In the spring of 2020, that was initial quarantine. It was March 2020 to May 2020. Out of the Woods, Taylor Swift. Bitch Better Have My Money, Rihanna. Mystery Love and Visions of Gideon from Call Me By Your Name, because that was the first time I watched that movie, was in quarantine. Obsessed. Love My Way by the Psychedelic Furs from that movie. That's when Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa came out. Was obsessed. Kid Crow by Conan Gray came out, was obsessed. The Man by Taylor Swift, was obsessed. Barbie Dreams by Nicki Minaj, was obsessed, still obsessed. And I think my favorite two albums of quarantine had to be Reputation by Taylor Swift and Toni Braxton by Toni Braxton. Those two albums made my life. And Ride Out in the Country that I mentioned before by Yola from high school, I would listen to that song every single day when I would go on a drive during quarantine every day. It was the only thing I would do when we were not seeing people. And I would drive, and that's all I would do. And I would drive on the same country roads, and I would listen to this song by Yola called Ride Out in the Country. And peak quarantine memory for me. moving on to the summer of 2020. That's June 2020 to August 2020. This was a really fun time with friends, just a couple friends, because it was still the pandemic. And so I was really only seeing, the same few people over and over again. And shout out to those people. They know who they are. And Better Off by Ariana Grande. Good Night and Go by Ariana Grande. Ghostin' by Ariana Grande. Oh my goodness. Takes me back. Do It. Ungodly Hour, that album by Chloe and Halle, came out on my, that was my 18th birthday. My 18th birthday, June 12th, 2020. And I love that album. I know every song. And I still love it. I loved it then. And my friends and I went and saw the sunrise on my birthday that year. And I remember getting up at 4:00 in the morning and getting ready to go see the sunrise and listening to Ungodly Hour all the way through by Chloe and Halle for the first time. And that was a really good memory, and I won't forget that. It was a really great birthday present. I loved that time. I really loved the remix of In Your Eyes, Doja Cat, The Weeknd. At that time, I loved Space Cowboy by Casey Musgraves. I loved 18 by Khalid. I was turning 18 that summer. Summer Boy by Lady Gaga from the famed Monster Love. My Favorite Part by Mac Miller. Ariana Grande, The Divine Feminine. I'm obsessed. Still am. Love that. All I Want to Do by Sugarland. It Happens by Sugarland. I like country music now. And that album is called Love on the Inside by Sugarland. And that's another one I listened to when I was a kid, actually. That should be on the Wonder Years. This was also the summer that Folklore came out. And I have a very vivid memory of listening to Folklore for the first time, too, actually. I worked at Target. The real ones know I worked at Target for a very brief period of time. And when I worked there, I would often work really early mornings. And there was this one morning that I had to be there at 5, I think. And so I was extra, still am, but I was always a diva, always been a diva. And so I would wake up at 3:00 in the morning for my 5 a.m. shift to get up, do a yoga flow, make a latte, drink the latte, take a shower, take a shit, get dressed, drive to work, and still be late. How you waking up at 3:00 for a 5 a.m. shift? You still late. But anyway, I digress. The first time I listened to Folklore was one of those really early mornings doing a yoga flow on a yoga mat in the office of my old childhood house in St. Brunswick, St. Simon's area. And that was when I listened to Folklore for the first time by Taylor Swift. And I really loved that album. I still do. I really loved Dear John at the time, and I really loved In a Dream, specifically the song by Troye Sivan. After the summer of 2020, we have the fall of 2020. This was a sad time for me. I had lost a couple of people in my life, not to death, but to shady behavior. And so I was in a sad they them era at the time. I was listening to hella sad music, child. And there's some good music on this playlist too, actually. Begin Again by Taylor Swift had a resurgence for me. Really love that. Because of You by Neo. It's a positive song that I liked. Baby, Justin Bieber, Ludacris had a resurgence for me. 34 plus 35. Ariana Grande, October 30th, I think, is when that Positions, the single, came out. And then a week later, the album Positions came out and had 34, 35 on it. And then that was the single. Oh my God. I ate that era up. I remember when Positions came out in October of 2020. I remember how I was glued to the lyrics of that song, learning every word on the day that it came out, because that's how I wanted to support my good sis, REG. I really love Dreams by Fleetwood Mac at this time. I think that's when I was still on TikTok, and it had like a TikTok research when that man was on that board riding, and then Mick Fleetwood. Oh my God. So Mick Fleetwood, you remember when he made that TikTok in response to the man on the board with the cranberry juice or whatever the fuck, and he was like riding too. Remember that? If you do remember that, and you know who Mick Fleetwood is, even if you don't remember that, and you know who Fleetwood Mac is, know who Mick Fleetwood is, listen to this shit. So in spring of 2020, when I was going to college, that's not 20. Did I say 2020? I meant 2021. In spring of 2021, my first semester of college, right after Hometown came out, wink, wink. You can stream that link tr.ee/KOBLIZZY. It's in there. So are the modeling pictures that I told you about earlier. Anyway, spring of 2020, I went to a party with a boy that I had met on an app. And there was this girl there. And it was her party, actually. It was for her birthday. And can I tell this story? I don't know if I can say this. Anyway, the girl was Mick Fleetwood's daughter. Like, I'm not trying to put her on blast or anything, but like, she was super sweet. She was so nice. It was a fun party. I really enjoyed myself. Good vibes, had a good time. And that girl was fucking Mick Fleetwood's daughter. I was gooped and gagged and just absolutely, I was stunned when I found that out. And she was super sweet. Nothing bad to say about her. And I loved that party, but I just think that was crazy. Anyway, in the fall of 2020, I really loved Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. Moving on. Dreams Tonight by Always, ALVVAYS. I don't know how that's supposed to be said, but my friend Katie showed me this song. I remember when she showed this to me in the car in Atlanta when I was visiting here before I lived here, and I love that song. Get Stoned by Fionn, Fionn. Banger. I loved that too at the time. Yeah, and all of Positions, the whole album. And my good sis, Shoshana Bean, she released this 3-song EP during the pandemic called Sayla. And it has a song on it called Try to Remember and another song called The Other Side. And I'm obsessed with both. It also has a fantastic cover of Purple Rain on it. And with that being said, I think we can move on to the winter of 2020 and 2021. It covers both years, but this is right after the fall of 2020. On this playlist are Babushka by Kate Bush. My friend Georgia showed me this. I love you, Georgia, and I love that song to this day. That's also when she showed me Running Up That Hill in 2020, the winter of 2020. I know that was many years after it came out, but it was still 2 years before these bitches on TikTok took that song and played it out. Because that shit makes me mad. And I'm happy Kate Bush is making money. I'll leave it at that. I'm happy she's making money, but I still wish, anyway. I don't want to gatekeep songs. I'm sorry to keep getting off topic. I'm not trying to gatekeep music, but sometimes it just bothers me. It's not that everybody loves a song that I love. If I love a song, I want that artist to get that hype and that credit. I want everybody to love it. But it's when a song rises to fame like that, it opens it up to scrutiny that I just don't think it deserves. I think that song is a masterpiece. I think it's a piece of music history. I watched this crazy video about it. I don't remember who made the video. Oh my goodness. But it was on YouTube, and it was just like the backstory of that song and the album that encompassed it. And Kate Bush is a legend. And I hate that her song is cheapened to be a TikTok hit. And people know that song from TikTok and not because it's just good, legendary music. Do you know what I mean? I digress. I'm happy she's making money, and I'm happy for the attention that Stranger Things and Running Up That Hill being a TikTok song has brought her. But it just, something about TikTok. It's not Kate Bush or Running Up That Hill or any of us that are the problem. It's fucking TikTok, man. I'm going to talk about TikTok in a podcast episode one day because I'm not a fan. And that might be controversial, but I don't care. I say it, and I say it with my chest, and I mean that shit. Anyway, Cornet by Cornet Man, Barbra Streisand from Funny Girl. I love that song in the winter of 2020. Don't Like Me, Whoa Vicky. Don't Dream It's Over, Crowded House. Speaking of Don't Dream It's Over, that video of Miley Cyrus and Ariana Grande performing that song from years ago on Pool Floats. Do you remember that? Y'all know what I'm talking about? If you don't, look it up on YouTube. It's fierce. Don't Dream It's Over is the song. It's a live performance, and they are so stinking cute. And I love that video. It's a comfort video for me. Don't Make It Harder on Me by Chloe and Halle from Ungodly Hour rose to popularity in my life in the winter of 2020. And that song is one of my favorite songs of all time at this point. It's fantastic. It's a masterpiece. It moves. It grooves. The bass line's sick. And I love it. And I love Chloe and Halle. Do Right Woman, Do Right Man by Aretha Franklin also became a part of my life at this time. And that's another song that I have brought with me. Up until now, I love it. I also love Easy by Troye Sivan. I love Every Time by Ariana Grande. I love The Hardest Hill by Shoshana Bean. This is when Hometown came out, so Hometown's on this playlist. I Could Fall in Love by Selena. Long As I Live, Toni Braxton. Banger. Orange by an artist named Clay. Pageant Material, Casey Musgraves. Slow Love, Prince. Here's Something to Dance For by Zendaya. It had a moment in the winter of 2020, so the girls say. Unthinkable by Alicia Keys. Walk 'Em Like a Dog, Saucy Santana. I guess I was feeling like them niggas needed to be walked like a dog in the winter of 2020. And I'm going to segue into the next playlist by wrapping the winter of 2020 up with The Worst by Janae Aiko. That song is fierce, and I love it. The spring of 2021, I can't get these fucking years right, man, to save my life. The spring of 2021 was my first semester of college. That was the February of 2021 through April of 2021. This was a good time. I lived in a dorm for the first time. I was away from my parents for the first time. I made good friends. It was fun. My first semester of college was good. It was weird because the pandemic made it like a hybrid semester. So I was in Boston in a dorm and not in Georgia in my house, but I was still doing classes online, but it was in Boston in a dorm instead of in Georgia in my house. You know what I mean? So it was online school, but it had different vibes. It was a new place. And so in the spring of 2021, I loved The Adults Are Talking by The Strokes. Ain't Too Proud to Beg by The Temptations. I think one of my teachers put me on that song. I loved her, and I don't go to that school anymore, but I do love her, and I still miss her. I had her every semester that I went to that school, and I still think about her sometimes. Shout out Vanessa. Art Pop by Lady Gaga, I loved at the time. Bloody Mary by Lady Gaga, I was eating up. I would put on. I didn't have any heels. I have a pretty extensive heel collection. If you know me, you know that. I don't know about extensive. I have a decent amount of heels, and they're not like Louboutin. They're hooker heels. I wear a size 15 heel, people. It's not Louboutins, I promise. But anyway, so I didn't have any of my heels with me in Boston in the spring of 2021. And so I remember putting on this one a chunky heeled black boot I had. The heel was like 3 inches, honey. It wasn't doing nothing for nobody. But I would put that shoe on because it was the only heel I had, and I would look in the mirror and I would lip sync Bloody Mary because I want to be a drag queen. Still do. Clean by Taylor Swift, I loved at this time. I still love that song. It's a fantastic song. I'm so excited for 1989 Taylor's version. I wish she would get on that. Driver's License came out during the semester, and I loved it at the time. It's a good song. Sour's a great album. Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Tears for Fears. Girl Crush, the Spotify single, Harry Styles. The Girl Is Mine, Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson, obsessed. Good Days, SZA. Good Old Boys Club, spring 2021. I was listening to Good Old Boys Club. I was listening to Heat Stroke, Calvin Harris, Young Thug, Ariana Grande, Pharrell. That's a banger. I Can't Stop Loving You, Ray Charles. And I'm going to wrap it up. The last 3 songs that I'm going to mention from the spring of 2021 that I love was Imposter by Pearl Charles. I Was Gonna Cancel by Kylie Minogue. That was another one that would get a chunky 3-inch heel lip sync in the mirror. And the last song that I'm going to mention from this time, actually, I'm fucking lying. I have a lot I want to mention. Monster, Shawn Mendes, Justin Bieber. I don't give a fuck. That was a banger. I don't care what y'all say about it. That was a banger. I don't know how y'all feel about them people, but Shawn Mendes is my husband, and Justin Bieber made a good song. That song is good. Call Me By Your Name came out this time. That was great. Purple Rain, I loved. Schooled in Life, Beyonce, I loved. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles, I loved. And I'm going to wrap it up with You Can Change by Purple Wonderlove. This was a song that my voice teacher at the time at that school showed me, and I loved him. He was so cool, and that song is really good. Purple Wonderlove, it's a pseudonym of what's his face? Music Soul Child, which is an artist that my dad loves. And he had like a label discrepancy, some issue like Prince, when Prince became the symbol, if I remember correctly. That's what my voice teacher told me. And so he went by Purple Wonderlove for a second, and he released an EP. And I think that's all he put out as that artist. But the music's good, and You Can Change. It's like a bossa nova groove. It's fierce. If you like music and you like that kind of music, you should get into that. Get into that zhuzh. That vibe is good. Purple Wonder Love. You Can Change. I love that song. This feels like a radio show. I feel like I'm like announcing the radio. I just love talking about music so much, and I love music so much. And with that being said, the fall of 2021. Oh, wait. I skipped the summer 2021. I sure did. Summer 2021. This was a really fun time. Lots of fun stuff happened this summer. I went to New York for my birthday spontaneously to see my queen Shoshana Bean perform in person live for the first time after the pandemic. It was amazing. I really love that memory. I threw a birthday party in my hometown. I drove 4 hours, 4.5 hours, 5 hours, maybe even that morning, the morning of my birthday, just to throw a party on the beach, and then it got stormed on. It was a mess. But it was fun. It was a good time. And sometimes when shit don't go the way you want, it can be more fun, and sometimes you just got to be cool with the way shit shake out. That's all I'm saying. And with that being said, the summer of 2021, this marvelous time in my 20 years of existence, I loved Asthma Pump by Tay Money and Flo Milli. I love Beautiful by Carole King. I Believe by Cher. Brown Eyes, Destiny's Child, Come and Get It, Selena Gomez, Deja Vu, Olivia Rodrigo, Deja Vu, Beyonce and Jay-Z, Express Yourself, Madonna, Favorite Crime, all of Sour, Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish, not the album. The song specifically, that song was a spiritual experience for me. The first 24 times I listened to it, it felt brand new every single time. And when all those hits started happening, and it was very rock and loud, and I was like, oh my God, I got my life. There's this album by Toni Braxton and Babyface called Love, Marriage, and Divorce that I love. Get into it. It's R&B music if you like that. If You Want Me to Stay, Sly and the Family Stone. I Want Love, Jessie J. I Want You Around, Snow Allegra and Black. Marvin's Room, Drake. Mirror, Madison Ryan Ward. My Body Keeps Changing My Mind, Karen Carpenter. Mystery, Matt Maltese. Nothing from Nothing, Billy Preston, baby. This playlist is good. Save Room for Us, Tanashi. Seesaw, Aretha Franklin. I was in an Aretha Franklin era right here. Strawberry Wine by Deanna Carter. My mom put me on that song. It's really good. It's a country song, but I love it. Thank Aretha Franklin. Wait, August, Alsina is a banger. I've loved that song for years, but I did love it in the summer of 2021. And I'm going to wrap it up with Until You Come Back to Me by Aretha Franklin. That's a classic, and I love that song. And with that being said, I'm going to move on to the fall of 2021. It's September 2021 to November 2021. This was my second semester of college, and this semester was magic. It really was. This is when Bad Bitch came out. This is when I did the Tina Turner showcase, and I got to sing What's Love Got to Do With It and live my, live performance fantasy. And I don't expect that to be the last time that happens. But that was a really good moment for me, and I really loved that semester. I had a great time. It was a good time. And it ended, anyway, it was a good time. There's some great music on this playlist. This is when I fell in love like never before with Yebba. This is when her debut album, Dawn, came out. I cannot recommend that album enough. Every single song is a banger. Every single song is a banger. Hear me when I say that. Every single song is a banger. Yebba is a testament to artistry. She's a testament to vocals. She's a testament to storytelling. She's a testament to making you feel something. And she is a testament, period. She is a walking church. She is a walking spiritual experience. She is a pastor and a preacher and a deacon and an author and a songwriter and a producer all in one, honey. She is everything in the world, and the sun and the moon and the stars, and I love that woman with all my heart. I really do. I cannot scream enough praises about Yebba. I love her. I love her. I love you, Yebba. 30 by Adele came out in the fall of 2021. I love that album. So did Red, Taylor's version. It came out in November. Bad Bitch, like I said, by KOBLIZZY came out. You should listen to that one. I already told you how much I like it. Be Alive by Beyonce came out. I love that song. I loved the live performance in the Oscars. Come to Life by Kanye West from Donda. Amazing song. Daydreaming, Aretha Franklin. Do for Love, Snow Allegra. Erase Me, Lizzie McAlpine, Jacob Collier. I think this is when Silk Sonic albums came out. Wasn't it too? This semester, fall 21. Fly As Me, I really like that song. Have Mercy came out. If You Don't Want to Love Me by Tamar Braxton. So this is from Tamar's first album, probably over 2 decades ago at this point. If You Don't Want to Love Me, banger. I really recommend that song if you love old R&B. It's like 2000, I think is when it came out. It's like 90, 2000s, hybrid R&B. It's fierce. It's like a ballad. I love that song. Lo Que Construimos by Natalia Lafourcade. I love that song. I have no idea what she's talking about. I wish I spoke Spanish. I don't, but I wish I did. But that song is gorgeous, and I know it's sad without even knowing what she's saying, because you can hear it in her throat. Her throat emotions are very loud. Ew, that sounds gross. Yeah, this was a good time for me in life and music. October 33 by the Black Pumas. Colors by the Black Pumas. Only a Lifetime by Phineas is sad, but a beautiful song. Reminder by The Weeknd is a banger. And Rich Sex by Nicki Minaj and Lil Wayne is that girl. I love that song. And moving on for the fall of 2021, The Winter. This one's going to be quick. This playlist is short. And I'm trying to wrap this podcast up here in a minute because you good people have been sitting here with these earbuds in for the better half of a century. Listening to me talk about my music and my love. And I'm happy if you're still here. Thank you for listening. The Age of Worry by Yebba, I loved in the winter of 2021. Angel Baby, Troye Sivan. Breathe Again, Tony Braxton. False God, Taylor Swift, I loved. The Joker and the Queen, Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, loved that song. More Hearts Than Mine by Ingrid Andress. It's a country song. I really like that song. Silly by Denise Williams. That's a song my dad loves and I love too. And I really liked it in the winter of 2021-22. The Most by Miley Cyrus. I'm gonna wrap it up with Woman's World by Cher, honey. This is a woman's world. If you like gay music and you don't know Woman's World by Cher, get into that gig. That song is fierce. It literally, tell the truth. It's infectious. You'd love it. After the winter of 2021, during that time, I was going through some shit, to be candid with you. I was going through some stuff. And the spring of 2021 started as a period of recovery for me. It was a period of recovery. It's a period of healing. I'm still healing, but that's when I was doing it for real, for real. I was healing in overtime in the spring of 2022. Do I keep saying 21? Fuck me in my ass. I'm not good at this yet, but I promise I'll get better. The spring of 2022 is what I'm referring to. That's when there was a period of healing for me. And so this playlist isn't super long, but the music on it is great, as it was by Harry Styles. Fair by Normani. Maybe by Miley Cyrus. That's from her live album. She's doing a cover of Janis Joplin. Take Yourself Home, Troye Sivan. Easy, Troye Sivan. Rager Teenager, Troye Sivan. Remember when I told you earlier that I loved In a Dream, but only that song because I love the rest of the EP later? I feel like I said that. If I said that, that's what I'm talking about right now. Take Yourself Home, Easy, Rager Teenager, 10 out of 10, stud. Every song from In a Dream by Troye Sivan I'm obsessed with to this moment. Don't Forget by KOBLIZZY. That's a song from my Aftermath EP. I like that song a lot. It's on this playlist. Tonight I Want to Cry by Keith Urban. Animal by Troye Sivan from his album Bloom. Nights Like This, Kehlani. Sounds Like Spring Break. Never Too Much by Luther Vandross. Freedom by John Baptiste. And Memories by Conan Gray. And Hours by Money Long. That's a banger too. And now, folks, we're on the summer of 2022. That is present time. It started in the May of 2022. Its ending is undetermined at this moment. And these are the songs that I'm loving right now. Artery by Clay. Boyfriends by Harry Styles, obsessed. Break My Soul by Beyonce, obsessed. Cinema by Harry Styles, obsessed. Garden by SZA, obsessed. I Miss You by Beyonce, obsessed. Music for a Sushi Restaurant was obsessed. More at the beginning of the summer, but I still really like that song. Skin of My Teeth by Demi Lovato, honestly a banger. Yours by Conan Gray, a banger. Plan B by Megan Thee Stallion, a banger. And Movies by Conan Gray, a banger. That's all I'm going to mention for now. The summer's not over yet. Maybe, who knows, I'll do an updated music podcast. Maybe. But these are my eras of music. That was a condensed version of my life in music. lots of different periods of my life, lots of different moments, lots of different feelings, lots of different vibes, but it has been a life well lived. And I'm really sentimental, and I like to wrap things up in neat little packages. And so for me, these playlists were a way for me to compartmentalize these different eras of my life and all those emotions I was feeling, and have a way to revisit them and memorialize them in a way that reminds me who I am, and doesn't let me forget who I am as a person, and where I have come from and what experiences I have had that have made me who I am today. So I hope I can inspire you to make some playlists like this. Because honestly, I think it's really fun. Um, and it's a lot of work if you want to go back and dig rather than start in the present time. But I promise you, it's worth it. At least it was for me. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to the very first episode of the KOBLIZZY show. It's been fun. I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to y'all. I hope you enjoyed listening. If you would like to hear any of the playlists in their full form that I have talked about today, any of the playlists from the eras of my life, you can find them on my Spotify artist profile that is linked in my link tree. If you want to hear any of the original music that I mentioned of my own, you can also find it in that very same link tree. That's linktr.ee/KOBLIZZY. And I hope you have a fantastic day. I just want to say before I go, I don't have a plan for this podcast yet, but once I do, I'll let you know. And that's all for now. Bye. Mwah.